Hello and welcome back to CinemaBurger's 13 Nights of Halloween as we continue with the Amazon original movie Get Duped. Now, Get Duped is about some delinquent teens in the Scottish Highlands. They are forced to go on the Duke of Edinburgh test/hike, which is supposed to teach them good skills and survival, and it's also a punishment for being bad in school. There's wannabe rappers, and according to their school, they are like outcasts and not the most upstanding people. So they get sent on this hike by this teacher, who is played by actor Jonathan Aris, who is actually in the movie Vivarium, which I reviewed last week. So there is also one kid who wants to get the Duke of Edinburgh award because he's like a good kid and upstanding, and he just wants the award because it's a high honor for kids in Scotland. It's kind of like, I guess, the honor roll or something. So this kid shows up too, and it sees 4 kids. Now they look like they're about high school age, 17, 16. So the teacher describes the hike, where they're going. There's like farmland that they have to watch out for and things like that, and that the teacher will meet them at each step of the way. So when they start the hike, they're kind of making fun of the good kid and not paying attention and doing like stupid things. But then all of a sudden, they hear gunshots, and there is this, I guess, hunter who's following them. He has a mask on, and he calls himself the Duke. Now, he's played by Eddie Izzard, who is always eccentric and great, and he's basically trying to hunt these kids down because he thinks the teenagers are, like, morally wrong and are a insult to this country. So he's basically trying to kill these kids. So while this is all going on, the police force of this small town have gotten word of they call terrorists. It's apparently what they call just a group of rappers and stuff. And that gets moved to the number 1 on their crime list, which before that was a bread thief. So I like that joke about like the small town crime and stuff. Kind of reminds me of Hot Fuzz, where there's not much going on in this town, so a bread thief is their highest priority until possible terrorists. So these cops are on the hunt for these kids, or what they think is, because they heard one of the kids' rap videos or something. So these types of comedies use unique British humor, which can sometimes be dry, but just really funny. And that's what I like about this. Throughout the hike and trying to survive these killers, they learn how to fend for themselves in the woods and become better people along the way. Now, at one point, at one of the checkpoints, the teacher is there and he has a scratch on his leg, so the kids think the teacher is the Duke. So they literally run him over with the van, and it's really funny because the dummy is like perfect. So they think the teacher is the killer, but so they accidentally kill the teacher. So now they're kind of on their own, and they're trying to survive. Now, at one point we see one of the farmers mowing his fields, and he's listening to a CD, and it's one of the kids' rap songs. And they were told to watch out for like the farmers just because they're using the big machinery. So there's other killers with these weird masks, and by the way, these masks look like old dried up skin. It's probably like leather or something, but it looks like skin. And they also believe that like juvenile delinquents or children are like a plague on society, so they just want to kill all children. So there's actually a couple of drug scenes. One is they meet up with the farmers, and it turns out they like to smoke and do mushrooms, so they have fun with that. And the scenes when they're on drugs, they use like a rainbow effect, and it's pretty cool. But later on, they find like mushrooms that the rapper kid knows. But when they take them, there's some really cool effects. Because at this point, they're kind of wearing body armor, and they steal a sword from the Duke. So they have like animal fur and stuff on them. And during the drug scene this time, their faces get distorted, they become meshed into one, and it's one of the more interesting scenes. The cinematography is pretty cool in this. Now, the police have been following them kinda, and they catch up with them, and they think these kids are the terrorists. So near the end, all the hunters have the kids surrounded, and it looks like there's no way out. But all of a sudden, the van shows up. It looks like it like fell from the sky and lands on all of the hunters, killing all of them. It turns out the teacher is still alive, even though he looks like a zombie. His face is all bloody, his glasses are broken. Now, I thought he was actually going to be a zombie, but he was just somehow alive. And he yells at the kids, like, you killed me, and, like, you failed this test. But then he falls down, and the kids basically give him cocaine to wake him up. And, like, mushrooms. So, also the cops show up right after this, and they, like, who's the terrorist? So, also the cops go in the van, and they find bread. It turns out the teacher was the bread thief that they've been searching for the whole time, which is kind of a funny coincidence. Doesn't really add or take away from the movie's plot. Well, I guess it does. But, so, the kids lie and say that the hunters were the terrorists and the bread thief, since they're all dead and can't say anything. So everything kind of gets wrapped up nicely. They, like, protect the teacher, and then they get the Duke of Edinburgh award. And while the three rowdy kids were making fun of the good kid, they all become friends at the end, which is nice. But what's an interesting end here is, as the four kids are walking back after they've been healed by the cops and the ambulance and stuff, they see a group of 4 girls about to take on the Duke of Edinburgh award test. Now, the kids kind of give some of their insight to them. They give them the sword and things like that, and like, watch out in the woods. And then also, in the far off distance, as the 4 girls are about to go on this journey, you see another hunter that we don't know. So that leaves an interesting possibility for a sequel. Now, personally, I would like to see a sequel. This was a funny British movie. It's a good Amazon original, I think. It's from a writer-director who are not big, but I would like to see more from them. The writer-director is named Ninian Duff. This is his first theatrical movie. He's directed some music videos and shorts. But I'd definitely like to see more from this guy. I recommend Get Duked if you're into, like, silly adventure comedies. Definitely reminds me of things like Strange Wilderness and stuff like that. Hot Fuzz, definitely. I'd give this a 3 out of 5 burgers, only because while it's enjoyable while you watch and it has great cinematography, you probably won't remember it after a month or a couple months. But it's enjoyable while you're watching it. It's nice that it's on a streaming service. I probably wouldn't see this in theaters. And next time we'll check out something on Netflix. I've been Scott Berger, and I'll see you next time.